All right, folks, here back in the studio. Wow, I have company. It's a very rare moment. We're here with Joe Concha, media and politics columnist at The Messenger and a Fox News contributor. We have Katie Pavlich, editor at townhall.com, a Fox News contributor, and Mark Simone, WOR radio show host, the best in the business. Thank you, kids. Can I just get, Mark, start with you, just on this report from Tomlinson. I mean, Israel faked this out, in a sense. This is a brilliant ploy. Everyone was waiting for this big announcement about a ground invasion, but that's what they've done. And it's been very efficient. It's been very ruthless. It's been very successful. They've split the country in two. They've come from three different angles. They're taking Hamas, they're killing Hamas commanders and whatnot. I mean, I think this is a hell of a thing. What do you think? I mean, politically, this is a genius.
Well, it's phase two. What you do in phase two, you come from different directions. You shrink the battlefield as much as you can shrink it before the real ground invasion. They're also using state-of-the-art stuff that's never been used before. They've got these robots that go in the tunnels. The robots do the killing in the tunnels. Then they launch these. Yeah.
Key point.
They've got robots in tunnels. Then they use a sponge bomb. You shoot that into a tunnel. It's a compound that just expands and basically eliminates the tunnel. It's just frozen solid. Nobody could ever get in there again.
So, Katie, why in God's name, if you're back in Israel, which is what our president says he's doing, why is it every day in the White House press room? I mean, Peter Doocy went after him again today, John Kirby. What is the difference between a ceasefire and a pause? I don't see a difference. If the IDF is doing the Lord's work, which is what they are doing, after this barbarous invasion, murdering Israelis, murdering people from all over the world who are at this peace concert, why in God's name would you stop it?
Well, I was listening very carefully to the White House press briefing today because of this exact question. What words are they kind of split here when it comes to explaining the differences? Because just a few days ago, they were very resolved about saying, we do not want a ceasefire. The only people who would benefit from that are Hamas. Then today, John Kirby was saying that these temporary pauses would be localized and they would encourage Hamas and the Israelis to stop fighting temporarily to allow humanitarian aid to come in. Now, let's remind everybody that humanitarian aid in this case is not needed because Hamas is sitting on hundreds of thousands of gallons
for
of
several
fuel.
years.
Yes, they have plenty of food that they have been hoarding for their fighters. There was an Egyptian journalist who actually asked the question of a Hamas leader who said, look, you have all this concrete that's been imported into Gaza that you've used for tunnels over the years. Why don't you allow civilians into the tunnels to shelter in terms of bomb shelters? And he said, that's not our job, that's the UN's job. So every time you hear this terminology and argument for a humanitarian pause, Hamas controls everything. They are hoarding all of the resources. They should be forced to make a choice. We know the choice they will make, which is putting their people in these positions where they can use them as human shields and as collateral damage for this PR war they're waging that the American left and many people in the White House Correspondents Association in the White House briefings are biting on. But humanitarian aid is going to Hamas. It's not going to the people.
Joe Concha, even the news coverage by the Wall Street Journal, which I read every morning, cover to cover, Hamas health officials or Hamas health ministry officials say 150,000 people were damaged. I mean, why do people ever listen to anything that's first labeled as Hamas?
My favorite is the Gaza Health Ministry.
There it is. That's what I was trying to remember.
Professional.
The Gaza, right.
Remember that hospital that apparently Israel had bombed, except they didn't hit the hospital, they hit the parking lot. And we're talking like maybe an hour. Exactly. It was Hamas, Islamic Jihad. The missile came from inside Gaza. And we saw the headlines, right? Palestinian officials say, when the New York Times even showed a photo of a destroyed building that wasn't even in the same city, right? So we're trusting these things.
Right.
And remember what they had the death toll at, 500 people killed. Boy, those people in Gaza can really count the bodies real fast. They trusted Hamas numbers immediately. But I contacted your producers before this segment because the media reaction to some of this has been extraordinary. You mentioned the White House Correspondents Association, some of the reporters in that room. There's one named Brian Karam that actually has a story out today, and I think we have the headline that we could put up here.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Quote, MAGA and Christian nationalism a bigger threat to America than Hamas ever could be. That's funny.
Who is this dope? Where's he from?
Brian Karam, Salon, used to be on CNN.
Sure.
He's the White House correspondent for Playboy.
That's right.
He has a hard pass. I believe that under President Trump's administration, they tried to kind of revoke that because he was not a reporter. He's clearly only into commentary.
Actually, he once took off after me in one of those.
Oh, did he?
Yes, I know who that. He's a crazy person.
He loves attention.
Yeah. Hamas killed 31 Americans. At last check, MAGA and Christian nationalism hasn't killed any Americans.
Disgusting.
To make that, it's obviously clickbait, so we talk about it, and he's probably happy right now watching this.
Yeah, he's happy. His mother's happy. Mark Simone, what you think of Mike Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson?
I love Mike Johnson. They don't make guys like that anymore. He's right out of the Eisenhower 50s.
Yeah.
He's a straight arrow. They got the playbook to wipe him out with racism. Can't do it. He adopted a black child.
He's a MAGA Christian. Oh my God. He's a social conservative.
He once said he's against gay marriage, but civil unions. That was the exact same position Joe Biden had at the time.
By the way, he said he was a Kudlow student or something to that effect.
He called you a professor.
Professor. I like that. I got full promotion. I don't know if I got tenure, but it's not bad.
He was attacked on MSNBC. This is how desperate they got for being having such interest in the Bible. They said that made him an extremist. Absolutely ridiculous.
The best-selling book, by the way, the Bible. You know that.
I don't consider Cardinal O'Connor or the Pope extremists.
I mean, the Bible is it's higher up than killing witches. I mean, honestly, God, that was a joke. I won't say the author. Katie Pavlich, politically, he's got some tough issues now.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be big separation between the House and the Senate. He has allies in the Republican Senate, but not Mitch McConnell. So how do you see this funding battle, Israel versus Biden's essentially an omnibus spending bill is what it is?
Well, what I like about the new speaker is he's reintroducing this concept of having a budget and having to pay for things and new things that you want to do and prioritizing spending, no matter what it is. And he's offering to take away some of the money from the IRS spending and putting it towards aid for Israel. And even the IRS has said that all of the money that they got is too much of it. But you're still now hearing from the White House that President Biden will reject any kind of legislation that is standalone funding for emergency Israel aid. They want it to be coupled with Ukraine aid. And of course, as you mentioned, he's having trouble in the Senate. So he's got some tough negotiations to go, and he's not going to be alone. House Republicans will vote with him on these bills, and we'll see if the president really decides to issue that veto threat.
Joe Concha, give us a media read on this guy. As Katie said, the left is kind of coming after him now. I see these nitpicking articles, the Daily Beast and Salon and all that stuff. Yeah. I said to him, that he should take worried
criticized him because he has a mortgage and he doesn't own stocks.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing that Congress people don't own stocks. Like the Pelosi's, for example, right?
Okay.
Look, during interviews from what I've seen, he's very comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. And this isn't somebody who got a lot of interviews before he became House Speaker out of nowhere. So he did very well, and every conversation I've seen him have so far, and the fact that he's concentrating on the pay-fors. Here you have Joe Biden, Janet Yellen. They're saying we could finance 2 wars and not cut one thing at home. That's not how it works, and he's steadfast on that. So for the time being, at least, there's 220 Republicans in the House that are fully behind him. And I never thought I would say that 2 weeks ago.
No, Guns and Butter was ruined by LBJ, Vietnam and the Great Society. We've had a little too much guns and butter in recent years. I think guns and butter now is out of fashion. People they do want to see budget cuts. $1.6 trillion of bonds deficits have to be financed in the next 6 months. He quoted that number. That's from a riff that we had 2 nights ago or last night, I don't remember. 11% of GDP will be sold in the open market. I don't know who the hell's going to buy it. Well, someone will buy it at much higher interest rates, which we don't need. So it's interesting. Guns and butter, out of fashion. We got to go.
Thanks, Larry.
It's so
Professor
long.
Larry.
I haven't had any company here in weeks after this thing.
Be a great bar, Guns and Butter.
I'm not kidding. Joe Concha, Katie Pavlich, Mark Simone, you're all absolutely fabulous.